What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fye and Eric Sheetsaver. We're going to be talking through this Monster Tuesday slate, and it's a fun one. It's got a lot of things here. No weather to worry about, and I feel pretty good about a lot of the things we talked about earlier for knowing what I'm going to do. I'm approaching it a little differently because I'm only playing a few lineups. I did just finish rewatching your video, the 50-minute one about the whole process, and I thought it was very, very helpful. I still need to practice doing that over and over again, but I think that's the only way I'm going to continue getting better. So I'm going to try doing it with even smaller lineups and things like that. But anything changed for you, Sheets, from the beginning of the day to now?
Yeah. So here's something that I have for you guys. I don't want to name names. I don't want to get into it, but I learned something today that legitimately just shocked me. I don't even know how to even say this, but I'm just going to. So, I mean, I follow some like really, really good players, Discords. I watch other videos. I watch process and things like that. And like the four of the top like DFS players that I know, they had like question and answer or whatever. And every single one of them said they don't swap in MLB, late swap in MLB. And I'm just completely floored. Do
you think most of them are max entry? Everything?
I'm not going to start a holy war, but obviously, but that was very surprising to me.
But this actually might mean that it's an advantage for you because these, I mean,
it is. Oh no, it is. That's my point.
Yeah,
that's my point. Usually, when I watch like really, really good players and they talk about their process and stuff, I get very despondent. I'm like, oh my God, how do I mean, I can never play as well as these people, But I have a little confidence right now, actually. Not that I need it, right? But I have I'm in. All right. So what do you think about today?
Yeah, so I'm still on the side. I really like a couple of ways to get different. I mentioned that I'm okay with eating again, the Sale and I like Sale and Skeens chalk better than I like the other ones. I actually think Skeens ends up lower owned on FanDuel. He might be like the fourth or fifth highest owned pitcher on FanDuel just because the way the pricing works out. So I'm that's the chalk I'm eating. What I am going to do that's different is I'm definitely going to play Heaney in one of my two bigger lineups on DraftKings. He's 6K. He's actually had a good history against these Yankees in the past. Not a huge amount of sample size, but pretty solid anyway. And I think he's the one cheap guy who gives you some outs where you can play the Dodgers if you play a Heaney, for example. I also think that David Peterson would probably be the next guy I'd be looking at. And I'm also going to take a shot or two with the Ginn. I don't think it's necessarily the right slate for the Ginn idea for the Oakland pitcher, but it still has enough upside. And really what you're asking for is just Castillo. And I mean, it's just Sale and Skeens that I'm afraid of destroying me. Now, Castillo could do it every now and then, but I feel like Sale and Skeens are the two real likely ones. But if they don't, and they put up 25 and you can get the things you want in with a completely unknown 5,800 and 6K pitcher, I just think it's appealing enough to where I want to go that route. Now, even though I am playing some of the Heaney, I also have my FanDuel build is a Yankee stack and a Dodgers stack, actually. The Yankees, I don't feel like are getting enough ownership, and it feels like one of those situations where if Heaney's not going to be owned at any team, not to mention the highest or second highest upside DFS team is not going to get ownership against him, I think it's a good time to try to find a way to get to them. So that's sort of what I was thinking about.
I currently have, I'll give you guys the accurate number, and I'll run this again, but I can't imagine it getting much different. But on DraftKings, I mean, I'm playing 150 in like the $8 or whatever it is. So I'm playing like a whole bunch of things, and I have like a total of like a whole bunch of lineups or whatever. Mm-hmm. I have 98% Chris Sale.
Okay.
It just is what it is.
Yep.
And if Colorado gets to him, I lose, and that's just it,
Mm-hmm.
So pitching is where, again, I'm eating it, but I'm eating it with vigor. You know what I mean? Like I'm saying,
right.
I mean, and then I have Castillo as my next, followed by sprinkles of like just about everybody. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So And I do have like a couple. You actually have more than a couple of the Gins. Actually, I got
Okay.
got like 10% of the Gin actually.
Okay.
And Savali and Rodon and I mean you name it, I've got it as like an SP2. I mean,
Yeah.
I got a Freeland hanging around there. You know what I mean? I got
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff. With respect to the stacks. So my two highest owned stacks right now after running the Sims, well, I mean, there are 4. Okay.
Can I guess one of them that's going to be a low owned one?
Sure.
Milwaukee?
No. Milwaukee, I only have 7% of. I have 38% of one team, 33% of another, 30% of a third, and 25% of a fourth. The highest owned right now is 38% the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's what I read. And then 33% is from the same game, the Los Angeles Angels. So LA, Alexa, what's the weather or whatever.
Yeah, it's good.
Bueller is,
that was going to be my next guess was the Angels, by the way, because that's the team I've kind of caught on to a little bit too.
And then the next 2 are Texas.
Interesting.
Against Rodon, and this hurts. It hurts to do this, but Cleveland against Singer. So,
oh my God, against our boy.
Yeah, it hurts. It does.
I get it.
But that's what I have right now. And on FanDuel, and there are a couple of lineups I don't think we're in yet. So the Dodgers and Angels aren't even in yet.
No, we don't have them yet. And that, the Angels just came. The Angels is in now.
Oh, the Angels are in, but Dodgers and Seattle are not in.
Right. Dodgers, Seattle not in, and yeah, those are the last 2.
Let me see if there's anybody on the Angels that I should be. No, I have I have everybody.
Yeah, I think it came out the way that we expected, which is pretty unusual. So, yeah, I have no issue with anybody picking on Bueller. I mentioned it at the last start for the game I went to against Baltimore. I just think that. Look, I think he bounces back. I don't think it's necessarily going to be this season. He did look better in that game for Dodger fans that want to hang on to some optimism, but there is absolutely a chance that he can just get shelled tonight. So I'm good with that idea, Sheets. And we got Rhodey in there playing the 33-33. Rhodey, knock it down. Good luck tonight, man.
Oh, let's go, Rhodey.
Action on that one. Come on, man. Sell some. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure you've already sold it through some other satellite, the satellite king over here. Anyway, so yeah, but he's also said the same thing. He's got the Dodgers and Angels at the top as well. I'm curious though, because the Angels didn't initially look like they were going to get any ownership, and I think that's still going to be the case. So it's interesting kind of that we all came up with that separately.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it though. I think it's definitely worth the risk. The Dodgers have now given up like 1 million runs in every game they play. They've been winning, but they've been winning every game like 11-7, 10-8, 10-9. Yeah. Anyway, so. I'm sort of into that. So I have the Milwaukee. My big lineups are Milwaukee, Seattle. It's a combination of Milwaukee, Seattle, Dodgers, and Yankees. I really think the Milwaukee was. I just settled in on it, and I always feel good taking a shot against Nats. And you now have a 2K outfielder in the mix. So I feel pretty good about the. Wait, no, let me just refresh this because for some reason he's not showing it. Yeah, there he is. It's just got to be refreshed. So no, Milwaukee's got that 2K outfielder batting 6th. Brewer Hicklin.
Brewer for the Brewers.
Brewer for the Brewers, which cannot not be a winner. You can't tell me that's not a winner. And for what it's worth, he's definitely has like a little bit of pop and speed. So you don't need a bunch out of him. He's definitely a pinch hit risk if Nats goes, but. If it's 10-0, he may not be a pinch hit risk. And I think Nats is one of those pitchers where sometimes when he gets it going, he's solid enough. It's a little bit like the Peterson, but a poor man's version even of Peterson. I think Nats could get lit up here, and I love taking anytime I just end up going with the Brewers as a get different team. It just always feels good to me because I really like this lineup, and maybe I'm biased because they've been very productive for basically all of us. Every time it feels like the Brewers get mentioned, they score 10 runs. So I'm into that. I feel pretty good about it. And you've also got Gary Sanchez. You've got double catchers there, so you got Sanchez and Contreras in there. It's an interesting situation. So I'm sort of into that. And you can play them, and they're also, I mentioned them cheap. You also have Blake Perkins batting second at 2,900. It's a lineup that, again, you've got pinch hit risk in certain places. That's the one thing I don't like about it, but everything else feels pretty damn good. So I'm using them probably the most here now that I look at it. And again, I just made a rule for myself with no Dodger 5-mans, but I do have some 4-mans. And if I was going to have a 5-man, I think I'd be okay to get away with it if I played Ginn and Heaney together. So I'm not even that worried about it in that kind of a lineup. But yeah, I like getting to some of these Angels. The only problem is when you look at the Angels individually, it makes you just never want to play them because there is nothing to be excited about with Anthony Rendon batting cleanup, who's yet to hit a home run in, like, as you would say, since the Eisenhower administration, and it might have even been longer. O'Hoppe, but they put O'Hoppe down in the 6-hole for some reason. I have no idea why they do that. Moniak I like as a power. I think Moniak's the best home run upside guy on that side tonight at 2,900 against Buehler. Ward, Neto, Chanel. I like those guys. I just don't love the Drury, Rendon. I don't love the Joe Adele bats 8th, although I like that he gets you fantasy points.
Right.
Anyway, that's sort of what I looked at. And unfortunately, they put my 2-rang down at the bottom for my Milwaukee stack. So I have to decide whether or not I want to pay $4,700 for a half of 1% owned 2-rang batting 9th. But I don't know if I'm going to end up being able to do that part of it. But there's a lot of ways to stack Milwaukee today. Anyway, I'm very into that one myself.
Yeah, they've been playing well.
Yeah, and especially at home, and especially with the pricing, it just worked out in a way that I really liked. All right, what else do we have here, guys? Pop in any questions or thoughts. We did our first preview show. I'm going to talk. I have a company meeting later tonight. Rody and I will talk through a little bit of some of the ideas we'll have for some football early looks. And I want to get multiple different ways. Rody and I were doing position by position last year, while me and you did game by game. I like that. I like just giving doing some different options and getting some different voices in there. So we've got a lot of football content that's going to be coming up, obviously. But as far as this baseball slate goes, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that looks surprising.
Yeah, I find it interesting that you set it to no 5-man for the Dodgers.
So I did only because I just think you're looking at 25% on stacks.
Right, that's true.
So I thought if I'm going to, I'll do it in a hand build where I play the Heaney Ginn or something. That's the only way that I want to do it. And Rody's talking about Savale here. Okay, it's a play that's makeable for sure. It's a cheap enough price. You have very little strikeout upside. It's he's been good. I think it's actually, you know what, Rody? I think that actually makes some sense. Maybe Savale and Heaney is the way that I'll go. But I do think Savale is I guess a little bit more in play than I thought. He's been much better. He just doesn't strike out a lot of guys. It's low upside with the strikeouts, but he does, he'll throw 95 pitches if it's going well. Oh, I like him to get the win. So I think that makes some sense, Rody. I could get behind the Savale a little bit. Yeah, MJ says he's getting to 50% Seattle. Is that too much? I don't think so. So if look, I'm not playing a crazy amount of lineups, but Seattle is one of my 4 main teams. So I would be happy to get 50% of them. And just so people know, like when we talk about stacks, sometimes when I talk about my percentages, because I don't always 5-man stacks, and some of the stacks come in as 3-man, so it's a little bit tricky to figure out, which you've got. But you could literally end up with your stacks could be 200%. It doesn't have to equal exactly 100%. So 50% of your Seattle stacks, I'd be curious, are those all 5-man or are some of them 3-man? Either way, I think I'd still be comfortable with going with 50% Seattle if that's what you're getting. What do you think about that, Sheets?
Yeah, I mean, it is a. I mean, how many lines are we talking about? I mean, it is a big slate. I mean, that is a big number for 50.
But what if, that's what I'm curious. Like, what if of those 50%, let's say 50 of the 50% are 3-men, then it's not such a big number.
Yeah. No, I mean, in general, I mean, I would, if I got to that, what I would probably do is try to do the min uniques game and try to just see if by going min uniques and not costing yourself too much in average projection, you could pare that down maybe just a little bit, but don't do it artificially, but I would do it organically. Try to go with what you have and see if you can't get a little less.
That makes sense. That sounds like I actually would have guessed if someone would have asked if we would have. I would have guessed we would have each given the exact opposite answer that we gave. That I would have given your answer and you would have given mine.
Yeah.
47% 5. Yeah, that's a lot of 5-men. Yeah, I think that the min uniques is a good way to do exactly what you're trying to accomplish if you're trying to get a little bit less and spread out a little bit more. But yeah, I mean that's where I'm at. I'm actually showing my screen right now. I'm going to run a quick build here, and let me just make sure I can't. How is it letting me build? Because I don't remember changing any. Oh, you know what I did? Let me re-import the projections.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going to import Sheets' projections. Right, just like that. See, Sheets, I don't even need to save it or anything. I can just pop Sheets' projections.
That's it. It's actually working.
All but one player. For some reason, you don't have Will Smith in today, but it's possible that he even fits. But it just
no, yeah, you'll make So one thing you could do with that, by the way, is when you import it, unclick exclude unlisted players. Then if Saber has it, and I don't, it'll include Saber Sims in there.
Okay. Well, just for changing up sake, even let's just try to throw Goldies in there for a change and just see if we get some different things. I just out of curiosity here. So let's do this, and then I am gonna do the whole thing that I've been trying to learn that Sheets will go crazy if he watches me try to do again. But we'll see what we get.
I'm doing something right now. I'm afraid to look.
Don't look. That's it. That's a good piece of advice. So don't look for both.
Look what you're doing there.
I think I've got it. I've got the first part down. It's going to be the late editing that I'm a little bit worried about for NFL, but I just want to get practice with it.
Oh, the late swapping?
Yeah. I watched your videos, so I've got the idea of how to do it. It's just a matter of can I get it done in time, as I want to do it up to this.
Oh, you got plenty of time in
NFL.
NFL, I mean,
the problem is it's like there was a game a few years ago where the Giants were down 27-0 in the fourth quarter, and they came back and won 28, and that won all the money. But you wouldn't have had the fourth quarter if you did it early enough.
Well, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't.
No, of course. I'm just again. I want to try and do it as effectively as I possibly can. So I'm trying to do my Sheets impression here. All right. Let's see.
Well, you got it. Well, I have my FanDuel stuff I'm doing right now. When this is done, unfortunately, I'm going to look and see what you're doing. So.
Well, I'm going to catch up.
You got to get this done before I get over there.
I'm hoping to. I'm praying somehow it happens. Oh, it didn't even build me the right number of lineups. I had to rebuild it first and then running this in. All right. Anybody else have a guess as well?
I keep getting to these Indians. I mean, sorry, these Guardians.
I can't help. I do this. By the way, I can't stop calling them that either. It's just it's.
Well, you still got the Mets playing at Shea, so I mean.
Yeah. And you could tell me otherwise, and I still will tell you it's not Citi Field. It's Shea Stadium. I can't call Staples. I grew up going to Staples. I can't call it crypto. It just. I mean, maybe at some point I'll be able to convert over.
Lucky you're not calling it the Forum.
Seriously, well, at least that was a different stadium. To call the same stadium a different thing it's just as an LA fan, we haven't had that happen before. We have never had a different stadium change name since in my lifetime. So it was always the same things. I guess the Kings when they moved, but they also moved from the Forum. So yeah, no, the Kings didn't even. Never mind, they didn't either. All right, so we're gonna do this.
Look at that! Clicking that button like a freaking champion.
That's the easy part. And now I'm getting ready for my ROI. How come it billed me? God damn it!
Oh, you wanted more than 20?
That's all right. 20's fine. We'll just do that for now.
You could just type in there more.
I just did on this one.
Oh.
I think I have to reset it because it's changes too much, I guess.
No, that's all right.
Okay.
Oh, you built 5,000. You're good. So now what do you do? I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, I'm going here. Large slate. I'm going to flagship MME, RAROI.
Okay, so you saw it like flutter, so it did something.
Yeah, it changed a lot because there was literally 0 Dodgers, and now we've got a bunch. So let's see. Okay, 99% sale.
There you go.
31 Castillo. So I would probably. This is a little weird when you have. I'm a little surprised that they're so low on some of the other pitching things. But okay,
stack exposure. See what you got there.
Let's see what we got. Okay.
Just like what types of stacks?
Yeah, 5 3s. So yeah, you're getting the 5 3s. I think that makes sense on these slates in general. I do like getting a little bit of the other stuff personally, so I would be okay to leave it. I know you don't like it as much, but
go to team stacks and see what you got.
And we've got Texas, Cleveland, LA Angels.
I like it.
And it's actually pretty spread out, a little bit more than I would have expected. Maybe it's because I only ran the 20, but
now here's the trick. So now we'll do the
other part.
Yeah, the aggregate metric thing. So hit aggregate metric. No.
Oh, my bad. I forgot. I thought it was on there for some reason.
Okay, now go to select, and then average, and then projected score, and then hit save aggregate metric. Okay, so now you see, just click anywhere except for that. Okay, so now you see that 103.363.
Yeah.
So now, like you put a unique, so you do more or anything else you change, you'll be able to see how it affects it,
right?
If at all.
Barely a change.
Yeah, and depends on what you want to do. I mean, but you could keep blasting, and get as many min uniques as you can. But you also should just take a look also what it's doing to your not so much the team stats, but the stack exposure more. So you're
I'm curious about that. Yeah, it's a good point.
And see if you got a whole bunch. Yeah, you see now we're getting all kinds of stuff. Like
a little bit more other stuff, but it's actually less of the 4.4s and the 4.3s. Which is
right, but you're getting a 4.0, a 4.2, whatever.
Right, a little bit.
I might go back to min uniques 3 or something, and then just
let's see.
That
was 85% firmly in the other. If I really want, and look, and nothing worse than a 4.22, which I would be okay with personally.
Yeah.
Not in this kind of slate. I wouldn't try to build a 4.22, but it just if I ended up with one that I liked,
I
would be okay with it. And then as far as team stacks go, the only thing I would personally change for myself here is first of all these I would probably want to get a little bit of the Yankees at low ownership. They got a little bit actually, and I'd probably want a little bit of Dodgers. But I would more importantly, I think the Castillo play is the one that I'd be worried about a little bit. I completely understand why he makes sense. I put him as a core because I think it makes sense on paper. I just feel better about that. I just think in the long term, we're going to be better off playing the Skeens play. And look, I'm not going to say I'm smarter than this at all. I'm just saying that's what I personally would want. So I would probably try to see if I could at least get this will take away the Castillo's exposure. So if I just did this, how much are they going to yell at me for this? Maybe they won't. There we go. Yeah, this would even be a little bit better for me, and it'd probably change the team stacks a little bit. Not much. And this is a pretty decent, distribution. You have 32, 26, 23, 20. I think it's a pretty nice distribution, actually. I feel okay with that. And they did get to the Milwaukee finally, which I would have tried to force in. So Squatch Happens, who's very kind and always praising us, is asking if running a single entry on FanDuel, which stacks will you roll with and which pitcher need to hit something? All right. On FanDuel, I'll just tell you, I'm playing the Yankees with Skeens and the Dodgers. That I think is good enough for single entry for me, and that's what I would roll with personally. This is my favorite. Sheets will go with whatever his projections and everything lead them to.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And let's see what we've got. Mariners, Crawford, Rodriguez, Raleigh, Rosarena. Thanks for that, MJ. MJ's awesome. He always posts the lineups in there. So we've got the Seattle lineup, and Polanco, Robles, Garver, Rojas. So you've got the double catcher again. We've got Crawford. Oh, it's Raleigh, Rosarena, Rayleigh. So we have no. Oh no, we do have Julio Rodriguez. Excuse me.
We have everybody.
Yeah, it's basically what you'd think. So
yeah.
Nothing.
Crawford, Rojas, right? I mean,
is that the? So they have. Don't they have the double Rojas's though?
Yeah, they have Josh Rojas.
They don't. They just have Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Rojas. Okay, so it's Rojas. Yeah, that's about it. That's basically what we expected. They have Rojas batting ninth because we didn't have Garver in some places, so that's the only thing that's changed. Anyway, good times. I did do. I'm just gonna take a quick look over on FanDuel and just see what I've got. It's a little bit different over there. Again, I mentioned it's a little bit easier to get to the elite stacks, which should make the Dodgers more popular over here even. And I think it will. You can see the ownership projected right for them. And we'll bring in Goldie and Sheets. And you guys have them a little bit less. And I think you're probably right. I think that Sabres is being a little bit ambitious on how high owned the Dodgers are going to be. I don't know that they're really going to end up being, Tommy Edman's going to be 35% owned or whatever, or 30% owned. I think your guys' numbers make enough sense for me to get a little different. I do think that guys like Rojas.
The Dodger play is not a lock as far as I'm concerned. I mean,
no, not at all.
Detmers can do stuff sometimes.
I know, and he's actually done stuff to the Dodgers a couple times in the past. I just don't know where he's at, and I honestly think that the real argument is
do you have a no hitter or a perfect game? He had one of them, right?
he had a no hitter. But the interesting thing about Detmers also tonight is that what the reason here's why also I don't like the Dodgers stack. In addition to my not wanting to play the chalky part, it's the problem is you take Kike Hernandez, Rojas, and Taylor, who are the cheap things that make the stack work, and if those guys might get one or two at bats because they're not going to let Detmer throw 95 pitches coming back from an injury. What do we have there? So you're going to have pinch hitters most likely.
But I mean, like if he's doing well, I mean, like in a game against the Dodgers, I mean, like they'll probably let him play.
You know, and to my surprise, that we've got him projected at 90 pitches. I would bet anything on the under if I really could and wanted to.
Well, what do you think the strikeout total is 3.5 or something?
I think it's probably right around there.
Yeah.
Maybe a little higher. 4.6 actually, not too bad.
I mean, let's see what you could actually bet. Let me just see. I mean, that could be a good under bet. I mean, if we don't think that he has the same pitch count as he's being projected for, right?
That's interesting, yeah.
So let's take a look. So MLB, baseball, pitcher props. Where are we? Max Meyer, Corbin, Springs, Bassett, Phillips, Peterson, Crawford, Freeland, Hendricks, Skeens, and then wait, where are we? Where the hell are the Dodgers? Here they are. Reed Detmers, wow, 5.
5 is the total, right? Wow.
Minus 25, minus 125.
Yeah, I like the under there personally, but
DraftKings is being really, really rude.
what?
I don't even think it's letting you play unders.
What?
Yeah, I think so.
That is pretty rude.
I mean, that's like criminal. It's like
that's stupid.
You could put like an over up there, but like they can't put it under.
I don't get that one.
Hold on, this just can't be. Let's see, strike. Yeah, look at it. Strikeouts thrown. That's it. That's all you can do. They won't stand by their numbers. They'll just throw them out there. And if you want to bet them. But they won't expose themselves to anybody calling their lines bullshit by playing the other side.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So this is I'm fascinated by Rody with the Savali play here because he's definitely considering it. And I just want to see if you're really going to play it in the big one. I mean, you're going to get that's on FanDuel. Sorry. Let me jump back over to DraftKings. I'm curious what he does end up getting on because his recency bias might get him a little bit of ownership. Yeah, I got him at 7%. But just to give an idea, I'm just going to take a guess that his strikeouts are even lower than like Savali's at 4.4 strikeout wise. He's below JT Ginn. He's below, significantly below. Let me just sort by this. Significantly below Heaney. Although I tell you what, you want one to bet over. If Heaney's got a 4.5 or 5K prop, I would bet the over on that in a heartbeat.
Right.
I think that's a really good bet because even if he gets roughed around, we've seen this happen with Heaney. I mean, look, he pitched for the Dodgers. He'd have 6 strikeouts in the first 2 innings, but he'd also given up 5 runs. Like it's just one of those guys. If they hit it, it goes a long way, but a lot of times they don't hit it. This Cleveland thing is taking on some steam, huh?
Yeah.
Everybody tries to stack against Singer every time, and I want to wait. I want to see it work a little bit. I mean, he's had some bad games, but even in his bad, the weird part is, I just think he's underrated overall. I guess that's it. He's the other one who's always got the crazy low strikeout props and always seems to pass it. All right, so anything else before we end up getting out of here? I don't think I have a whole bunch left to do with my lineup, so I'm happy to stick around for a moment, but I don't have anything.
I'm ready to get out of here. Mr. Sheets brought back some good food.
Oh, nice.
And
the birthday's on Wednesday?
It's tomorrow, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
So I am out tomorrow, and I am out Thursday until later. I'll be back in time for the 6 o'clock stuff on Thursday.
Nice. All right. Well, happy birthday to Stacy. Good luck to everybody out there. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon Eastern, and I'll be in the Discord.